Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, January 12th. UMass President Marty Meehan is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. With the cost of college education escalating, new efforts to keep it attainable, how UMass fits in. As some question, is it a degree that is still worth it? It's time to go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding.
And I'm Ben Simoneau. Sharman Sacchetti is off on this Sunday morning. And joining us at the table is UMass President Marty Meehan. He became president of the UMass system in 2015. He also served as a member of Congress from 1993 to 2007. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be here.
Always great to see you, Marty. And it's still appropriate to say Happy New Year, right?
It sure is.
Within the 12th, right?
The 12th,
we're okay.
I think so.
So speaking of that, it's early January. It's the time of year when college applications are due. And the financial impact on families, I don't have to tell you, I don't have to tell you, it's enormous. Beginning this fall, UMass will offer free tuition for households making less than $75,000. That doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't include housing and meals, but we're talking some $18,000 in savings, which is significant. How many students will that impact?
We don't know yet. We were close to offering this actually last year. At UMass Lowell, for example, 93% of the cost was covered just based on our financial aid at Lowell, 92% at UMass Amherst. But there will be, depending upon how many students come, there will be several thousand people for sure, but it could be more than that. One of the things we want to do is we want to make sure people know that UMass is affordable. Since I've been president, I have increased by 73% the amount of need-based financial aid that we put into the system, and I think it's really important that people realize UMass is much more affordable than they think. For example, tuition at our campuses, UMass starts at $14,500. Amherst is $17,000 for tuition. That's pretty reasonable in today's situation.
I just want to be clear that when we talk about this, we're talking about Massachusetts residents, right?
Massachusetts
residents.
Yes.
So do you think that this formula will boost enrollment?
I don't think enrollment is going to go up necessarily because demographically, we're at a period of time where the number of high school graduates from New England, from the northeastern part of the country, is actually coming down. What we want to be able to do is make sure that any student that wants to attend the University of Massachusetts doesn't feel that finances is an impediment. And the other thing about it, sometimes it's misconstrued that, you know, everyone that goes to UMass is middle class. 50% of the UMass Boston students are Pell eligible, which means they have significant financial need. It's nearly 40% at UMass Dartmouth, and a third of the student at UMass Lowell. So we need to do more, and the Commonwealth has stepped up to the plate. The legislature and the governor in the Mass Grant Plus program, so they're providing more need-based financial aid. But we need to keep it up.
You just talked about how reasonable tuition is. Will you have to raise tuition, do you think, in the next year?
Well, when inflation goes up at a certain amount and our cost, personnel costs, which are negotiated by the A&F department in the governor's office, there will be increases in cost. We want to keep quality up.
A percentage range you're looking at?
We're trying to keep below inflation. One of the things we've tried to do, and during COVID we didn't increase 2 years in a row, but we're trying to make sure if there is an increase in tuition, it's below the rate of inflation.
Inflation's running around 3%, so you're hoping to come in under that.
That's
All right. You put out word to international students that they should be back on campus prior to President-elect Trump's inauguration on January 20th, a week and a day from today. Many other university presidents did the same thing. What's your concern?
Well, we had problems during the Trump administration the last time where we had faculty members, students who were stuck in different parts of the world. I mean, when we hire faculty, we hire them from all over the world, and we have students that we try to come to UMass that are all over the world. We would just want to make sure that if there is a travel ban or something that early in the administration, we want them to be back on campus so they're ready to go.
So Massachusetts, you just talked about the role the legislature, the governor have played in trying to make education more of a priority, boost funding for the UMass system. On the other hand, we have an incoming Trump administration. They've considered eliminating the education department. Are you worried about cuts in federal funding. What's your big concern with Trump 2?
When Trump won, the president had said that he was going to reduce research funding. But in Washington, there's the Congress, and there are debates back and forth. We actually had more research funding under Trump because the Congress stepped in and said, no, we have to make certain investments. My responsibility is to make sure I do whatever I can to work with the administration to help the students that attend UMass. I fully intend to meet with the new Secretary of Education education. She has Massachusetts roots, and I'm going to try to do that and try to work. I've already been calling Republican members of the Congress that I know because I have a responsibility to work with this administration to figure out how we can help UMass students as much as we can. So I'm obviously worried about some policies, but I think I have a responsibility as the president of UMass to work with this administration.
Massachusetts, as you know, has free community college, and you have been a big supporter of early college programs in high schools as well. And just last week, the governor announced that she is expanding these programs. So what kind of impact, if any, are you seeing?
Early college is really important.
Right.
I met with an early college student. It's a young guy, junior at Lynn High School, immigrated to Lynn from Guatemala. Really smart kid. Early college got him going, all pumped up. He had some trouble. He went to UMass Amherst in Eisenberg. Very difficult to get into Eisenberg School, and he's thriving. I was able to help him get a scholarship to help get him through because my foundation has put money into scholarships for students. But just seeing this particular individual, and there are thousands of them, and I think we need to bring it to scale and expand it. I think free community college is a great thing. I want to make sure people know that UMass is affordable, because if somebody gets into UMass, they ought to go to UMass. And let me be specific about it. If you get into an engineering program at UMass, you need to go. If you get into computer science, our nursing program, 99% of the people we admit, they graduate in 4 years, and they all get jobs when they finish. If you get into any of these programs, you have to come to UMass.
Do you have the staff? What about capacity issues for UMass? Do you have the staff? Do you have the space to absorb the students that are seeking admission?
We do. As a matter of fact, 44% of our transfer students come from Massachusetts community colleges. So we're excited about the possibility that more students will transfer and come to UMass from community college. So we need wraparound services to help that, and the legislature has provided those wraparound services. By that I mean advising, helping students deal. They've done it for the state universities this year and the community colleges. We need to get some of that assistance too, but I'm hoping that we can graduate more students as a result.
In 2023, the United States Supreme Court ended affirmative action in college admissions, as you know.
Yes.
Diversity on some campuses has been impacted. What has happened across the UMass system?
Well, this is another example, similar to the question you asked me about the Trump administration. Did I love that Supreme Court decision? No, I didn't. But I read it, and our general counsel's office read it, and we came up with a strategy. How can we keep UMass diverse and comply with the Supreme Court? And we did that. We have the most diverse class at UMass Amherst, the most diverse class at our law school, UMass Law School, and the most diverse class. More than 50% of our students coming in are people of color. So that's the way we intend to work, and we take what we have to deal with. In this case, so we've actually had more diversity as a result of implementing that strategy.
So speaking of what you have to deal with, last spring, dozens of arrests at UMass Amherst over a pro-Palestinian encampment when that was taken down.
Yes.
You had said, going into this new Trump administration, there are some things that you're paying attention to. Are you concerned about additional protests? And what's the reaction been so far?
Well, not so much additional protests. I mean, protests are part of being on a college campus, particularly at UMass Amherst. What we want to make sure is that in a situation like this, that all the students are safe. We have students from Israel, we have Jewish students, we have Palestinian students. What we want to make sure is that everyone is safe on the campus. And the chancellor at UMass Amherst is doing an independent study. A former district attorney, Ralph Martin, is doing that. We're going to get recommendations. So we're not against protests. We just want to make sure everyone's safe.
And do you think the encampment should have lasted as long as it did? Or should it have been taken down earlier?
I think it's a good idea to follow the rules and take encampments down right away. I think a lot better.
The longer they go,
the more you have a problem. And look, I wouldn't want to be a president or a chancellor of any university where encampments get out of control and people are living in these encampments, and somebody lights a candle and lights a fire and somebody gets hurt. You got to take care of student safety first.
Marty Meehan's in the chair. We're on the record. Stay with us.